The inevitable trend here, as I've said a number of times, is that the internet digitizes first text, then pictures, then sounds. Then you get all the music in the world, all the movies in the world. Thing after thing after thing after thing just gets subsumed into the internet as a single enormous surface for transactions. Next thing comes financial instruments, and because there's an enormous amount of legacy stuff in finance, both legal, regulatory, and technical, we kind of hit a lump, and we don't get much past, kind of Robin Hood app on your phone. You can buy and sell, real world companies, but only ones that are publicly traded. And then it kind of stalls there for, 15, 20 years. The primary object was the brokerages online, and then you get Bitcoin. So your Bitcoin is currency on chain, USDT is currency on chain, all that stuff is now well established. Real estate on chain just kind of getting started. Tokenization of small cap companies and startups. Rash of activity with the ICOs in 2018. Poorly regulated, terrible legals, horrible fallout, not such a great deal. But it's all this inevitable progressive wave of digitization. And in the long run, any valuable asset in the world will have a digital representation, and you will be able to buy it, sell it, lend against it, tokenize it, fractionalize it, hypothecate it, rehypothecate it, and juggle it in a variety of complex ways. That inevitable progression, folks are very sort of surprised every time another barrier comes down and the water gets a little higher. And we shouldn't be. It's very clear 100% of everything winds up digital, and much of that stuff will be on chain because the chain does a bunch of stuff that is ideal for finance in a way that credit cards just aren't. It's inevitable progression. The places where I think there's a lot of distinction between best outcomes and worst outcomes is not eventual digitization of everything. Eventual digitization of everything, you can just assume that's happening. The tricky part is the US government going to create its own blockchain? Is it going to license a consortium chain from half a dozen banks? Is it going to give some kind of sole source contract to Google to go and do this stuff? Is there going to be a Fed chain, right? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Or are we going to see a kind of globalized standard in which it's Ethereum everywhere or it's some other chain everywhere? Some chains that are suitable for government use, some chains that aren't. How do you certify them? Does the United Nations or the World Economic Forum or the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund mount a chain and say this is our chain and you use it for global finance? We don't know. So I think the which chain stuff is going to be less a technical problem and more one of governance and legitimacy. And I think that there is an enormous amount of room for maneuver and room for debate. But it is in a very different realm from, is this a thing ever going to get digitized? Anytime somebody says, is this thing ever going to get digitized? The answer is yes.